between you and happy hour, so we promise to be efficient, try to be funny and engaging. But thanks for coming, everybody, this late on a Thursday. My name is Dave Wells. This is Phil Wirtjes. And we are part of a new project that's sponsored by Ava Labs, backed by Ava Labs, that we're going to reveal at the end of this and give a preview of a new project that we've been working on. So the topic here is Intersecting Markets, exploring the nexus between DeFi and CeFi. For background, so I recently joined the Ava Labs team and this project specifically from 2 Sigma, the quantitative hedge fund in Soho, New York. And I was doing product and strategy there. And before that, I was at Paxos as a product manager and general manager of the exchange there. Phil, do you want to introduce?
Yeah, definitely. I have a little bit of a different background. I think the first thing is I have a long and storied history of finding new creative ways to get wrecked while trading in the crypto markets. And the second one is joining early stage startups and helping them grow and scale. And it's that second piece that I'm especially excited to join you guys here and share a little bit more today.
Cool.
So we thought maybe before we get rolling, we could take a step back and examine a couple of issues that actually sit at the intersection of CeFi and DeFi. We thought we could do that with a couple questions. Feel free to shout out answers. We'll certainly queer the crowd for some responses here, but had 4 core questions that we thought we'd kick off with. The first one being, if we sit back and think about it, why were decentralized exchanges created in the first place? What need did they fill in the market? So anyone have a take on that?
Feel free to raise your hand. I can run the mic back.
Not your key, not your crypto.
Not your keys, not your crypto. Exactly, yeah. Self-custody, your own funds, that's right. Rug pulls, preventing things like that. Any other reasons for decentralized over centralized? Specifically for exchanges? Privacy?
Privacy,
yep.
For sure. Removing intermediaries, right? Like that's the whole movement of DeFi. Certainly a big one. And then passing fees, right? Instead of the centralized exchange taking it, those fees get passed to the liquidity providers. Big reason.
I think you also get access to more assets on decentralized exchanges. Anybody can create a market. As long as there's some liquidity for it, you have a full market versus sort of a gatekeeper and market makers deciding which assets are going to become liquid. Yeah.
What else we got up there?
All right, question number 2. Now that we live in a world with both DEXs and CEXs, what are the new challenges that have appeared that are specific to DEX, trading on a DEX? Could be retail or institutional.
User experience.
User experience? Okay, say more about user experience.
Because at the beginning, it's not easy. Now it's very easy for me, but at the beginning, it wasn't.
Right. When you're first setting up your MetaMask wallet, you have to find a fiat on-ramp, and then, yeah, move over, paying your gas fees, all those things. It's like, it's not super intuitive, right? There's many steps. Other challenges in the DEX world. What was that? Regulation? Okay.
Certainly, yeah.
Specifically, like what type of regulation concerns are there? Yeah. How much time do you have, right? Yeah, exactly. No AML KYC. How do you prevent laundering, things like that? How do you prevent bad actors from coming on using your product, your marketplace?
Here's another one too, fragmented liquidity, right? What DEX do you go to? How do you trade it? Sometimes the liquidity pools are ultra shallow, high slippage when you're trying to make trades. Not that great of an experience, to your point.
Related to that, like you have to be fully collateralized, so sending your collateral to a bunch of different marketplaces, understanding smart contracts, how to use those, order types.
Let's see what number 3 is.
All right.
Okay, so while trading, what are the pros and cons of an automated or an AMM versus a CLOB?
So CLOB, AMM, automated market maker, CLOB, central limit order book. So it's maker taker for those that don't know.
Has anyone used both and has an opinion on either one? Show of hands. There we go. We got one in the back. Any thoughts on the pros, cons?
One side you can see the depth, one side you can't. It's like a dark pool with an AMM with a central limit.
Price discovery. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yes. The bots?
Yeah, the bots.
What, and say more about what are the bots doing on the AMM?
I mean, when I make the order, just having another order or whatever I...
Right. Jumping in front of you, right? Yep. Great. Not great, but thank you for the answer. Great for the bot. All right.
Do we got a last one? There we go.
Yeah, last one. So benefits of off-chain trading versus on-chain trading. So I think the bot's point is very relevant here. Other considerations of trading on-chain versus off-chain.
Lower fees
Lower fees? Okay, for which one?
for the centralized one.
For centralized, yep. Especially when gas fees are taken into account, and then of course slippage based on liquidity. Other things off-chain versus on-chain.
Different privacy aspects.
Exactly, yeah.
That's right.
Privacy, for sure.
Yep, that's a big one. And then similar to the price discovery point, when you have off-chain trading, there's an order book that moves pretty quickly versus on-chain. Obviously, you're limited by the speed of smart contracts and things. Great. Okay, so all of these challenges that you all have identified, we saw as an opportunity. So the Ava Labs team, the same team that built Avalanche protocol and the bridges to Ethereum and Bitcoin, have built a new type of hybrid centralized exchange with decentralized governance that combines sort of like the best benefits of both worlds and addresses a lot of these challenges. So we're going to go into that today. So as we identified, current exchanges require users to make trade-offs. So we talked about the benefits and the cost to trading on a centralized versus a decentralized exchange. You're basically deciding to trade off speed, security, fees, execution, who is the custodian. And then as we mentioned, there's a lot of front running, a lot of bots. And this is true, this front running issue is true in centralized and decentralized exchange. If a market maker on a centralized exchange, for example, has preferential access or can see orders come in before they hit the order book, because it's unregulated, you'll be front run there as well. So introducing Enclave Markets, that's the name of this project. We have not publicly discussed this before today. So Guden sort of referred to this project in terms of addressing issues of front running and manipulation. But Enclave Markets is this new hybrid exchange that we're going to tell you about.
Yeah, so a sneak peek for everybody in the crowd here, but it's something that we're super excited about. And the reason is it solves some of those issues that we identified here as a group. So we think 4 main value props. The first is performance, right? So by using a central limit order book, you get institutional grade execution, near instant settlements. The second is fairness. So the topic of front running back there, the way that the tech works, and we'll talk about it briefly in a little bit, actually obviates the potential for any front running. The third piece is confidentiality. So we touched on the privacy piece. Because everything will happen off-chain, the only things published are price and quantity. So you keep a higher degree of privacy while you're making your trades. And then the last piece is non-custodial ownership, right? So you keep your private keys. You don't give those over to the exchange operator. And the way that we like to think about all these things coming together are a centralized exchange functioning under decentralized or DeFi-like governance.
Thanks. Okay, so just a quick preview into basically how this exchange will work. You can see here we will be cross-chain, interoperable with multiple protocols. So that's an advantage also over a DEX, which is primarily only on one chain. But so you can send your assets in from basically any chain. Your assets go into a secure enclave. Your account is credited, which is similar to a centralized exchange, except that this entire environment is all encrypted, even to the exchange operator. So only we'll see the deposits, but in terms of the trading activity, that is all happening in the secure enclave in an encrypted environment. So the trade execution, the order management will all happen in the secure enclave, which uses SGX, which we'll talk about. It's the same technology that the bridge to Ethereum and Bitcoin is based on. And then for settlement, you withdraw your assets. And this all happens in an automated fashion. There's no manual exchange operator running this. Okay, a little bit about the decentralized governance. We won't get a ton into the technical details because we would need a lot longer. And I see Michael, one of the engineers who built this, is smiling because he spent a lot of time talking about this. But the best analogy for this governance model is to take a look at the bridge. In the bridge, they're called wardens, and for this exchange, we're calling them adjudicators. But essentially, it's a multi-party, third-party trusted signature process to approve any kind of code updates. Each version of the code is hashed, so you can know, mathematically provable that nobody has, tampered with the code since its last deployment. And these adjudicators will fill the role of, performing audits, making sure that, everything that's we're promising in terms of, a neutral, fair marketplace are real. They're going to audit it for, security, all those things. So this central exchange operator will not hold all of the risk that you have in a normal centralized crypto exchange. So yeah, we haven't named these adjudicators yet, but we will. And the idea is to get different adjudicators in sort of different fields. So cybersecurity audit, market integrity adjudicator, those types of things, a custodian. And as we mentioned, the technology is proven with the Avalanche to Ethereum bridge holding over $6 billion in assets now.
So we cruised through a bunch right there. Certainly want to open this up for questions, so fire away on us. We also know and want to respect that we're probably the last thing standing between you guys and happy hour too. So please, I guess with that, we'll open it up for some questions. And I can run around and grab the mic or hand the mic to anybody who has anything to ask us.
Right now, when this is
Let me hand you the mic here.
okay. So when is the launch?
Good question.
When is the launch?
We don't have an actual date yet. It'll be this year sometime. But yeah, it's depending on a few things. But yeah, later this year. Yeah.
In the back. It's an obstacle course. What's up? I got you.
Can you guys talk about the user experience and like how does it feel for people? Like more like a DEX, more like a sex?
Yes. Great. Great question. Yeah. So we do think that there, to the user experience point, we do think there's a lot to take from the SEX model. So different types of order types, tools for portfolio management. So the look and feel of the UX will feel more like a centralized exchange. But everything happening on the back end is automated, and then the governance model is decentralized.
Yeah, one of the things we're super excited about too in the future, maybe not right away, but is the option to trade more sophisticated instruments as well, which just opens up your trading possibilities and feels a little bit more like a centralized exchange.
Yeah.
What is the difference with a solution like DEXalot that could be run in an optimized subnet?
Yeah, great question. So the reason this is like a centralized exchange with decentralized governance is because this is all off-chain. So for the for the privacy and security, this is all all of your orders are happening in the secure enclave versus on-chain. So just the deposit withdrawal activity will happen on-chain.
Will the company be able to control who can open up order books, or will that be permissionless? So I want to open up a new order book on the Enclave. Will I be able to? Will I have to clone make my own Enclave, or how do permissions work on the order book side?
Yep. Good question. So it will be permissioned to start from the order book perspective, but we do want to pull in aspects of a decentralized exchange where you can people can basically nominate their own assets in their own order books. So, but yeah, day one is it'll be more centralized on the order book side.
So are you targeting retail customers first and then hoping to have some institutional flow, or is this just how's your roadmap?
Great question. Yeah, I think in the world that we're in still for crypto markets, I think you sort of need to appeal to both segments. The value proposition for this in particular, so front running was mentioned a lot. So we think that applies to like higher velocity, probably like slightly more sophisticated traders, but we're going to be open to both retail and institutions. We also think because this is going to be basically a regulated exchange and compliant, this will be an interesting conduit for institutions to access DeFi assets, basically.
Will there be KYC?
Yes, there will be KYC. It's a good question. It's not a fiat on ramp, so it won't it won't be like the painful fiat experience. But we are going to be compliant KYC and then on-chain transaction monitoring as well.
Hi. When you mentioned that there will be several operators in the Enclave, so that means that it will be only one entity that is going to manage all these enclaves, or you will allow that several entities are going to manage the operators?
So, good question. So it will be the adjudicators collectively. So the exchange operator will basically nominate updates to the code, but the adjudicators will be approving any kind of changes to the exchange. So it is sort of a multi-signature governance. Yeah. Great. I think we're right at time. So thank you all very much. Really appreciate it. Enjoy this.